What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. This is part 12 of my deep dive into Jethro Tull's live catalog. One of the most enjoyable experiences musically I've had in quite a while. Always been a Jethro Tull fan, familiar with their studio albums, wasn't really familiar with anything other than Bursting Out. So now I'm going through those. All of those albums. And today we're on live at the Palais des Sports, Paris, July 5th, 1975. This is a concert. I questions on what the actual concert is. I'll get to that in a second. But it was released as a bonus disc on the Minstrel in the Gallery 40th anniversary box set. Or well, I don't think it was a box set. It was like the long edition. Right, whatever it was called. Le Grande edition is what it was called. A show that I guess is technically still the War Child tour, as Minstrel in the Gallery wouldn't drop for another 2 months, though we do get a lot of Minstrel in the Gallery, the song itself, action in this show. But we do get some War Child stuff, including A Bungle in the Jungle, which just sounds out of place, as out of place live as it just kind of generally does in the Jethro Tull catalog, and a fantastic Backdoor Angels that's towards the end of the show. That's just fantastic. But I've seen set list for this show, and being that it does fit all on one CD, I'm assuming stuff has been edited out. Like I've seen set lists that contain Thick as a Brick, a Sea Lion. I've seen two different set lists, maybe making me thinking there was an early and a late show. I don't know. If anybody does know, share that. Couldn't really find a lot of information on this. But it's just another absolutely fantastic sort of just revelatory listen, especially considering the set list. Yes, we do get a lot of the same stuff that we're always going to get, but it's 75, so it's still early, and we do get a number of things which are just not going to stick around and don't appear in other releases that are just amazing, amazing treats. Opens up with an introduction. I think it's a classical piece. I'm not sure who it is, called The Beach Part 2. I think that might be what the actual piece is. I don't know, but it's like a classical fanfare intro. You can hear the crowd cheer as the band must obviously be coming out, or in probably this case, Martin Beret is coming out. And then Barr starts off with just some heavy, just distorted guitar, drops the Minstrel in the Gallery riff. He's just kind of messing around for a while, for about a full minute. And then we get a full band drop right into Wind Up, like where Wind Up increases around the 2 minute mark of the studio version, as an opener. And we just get that little like 2 minutes of like the hard rockin' drive-in part of Wind Up. It's an amazing opening, just absolutely, just immediately drops you into the mix. Like, yeah, we don't get the intro to Wind Up, that slow thing, we don't get the full song, but they have to make choices because they only have X number of minutes to play. And if they're just going to give us this 2 minutes of it, it is fantastic, especially with the guitar lead in and quoting Minstrel in the Gallery and just the heaviness of Martin's intro. Then we get a straight drop into Critique Oblique off of Passion Play, which is, if you're only familiar with the original Passion Play, it's part of part one. I think later releases, we had the song indexed into different parts. But we get a Critique Oblique that is just fantastic. This is not anything I've seen on any other set lists. It's heavy. The band is nailing it. Martin's riffs are just so tasty and so absolutely delicious. It is just, that's the first 7 minutes. Could be longer. They kind of like drop it down after this. I wish maybe they had one more, like, and I think they do in the actual set list. I think there might be something edited out here. But anyways, it's a fantastic opening, and it sounds amazing. Almost sounds like it's one of those like live in the studio type recordings, right? You don't get a lot of audience noise. It's a really clean recording. After that, we get a really nice Wandering Aloud with strings or with keys sounding remarkably like strings. It kind of works pretty well. Um, Always amazed at how well Jethro Tull sounds live when they go acoustic. Not all bands do. Jethro Tull still has power, and it still sounds amazing, and it still sounds clean, and their acoustic performances are just fantastic. That being said, after that we get a My God, but it's with the piano intro instead of the guitar intro. So we just start off with the dun, dun, the piano, and then Anderson doing his vocals. And then for the this goes into like the extended flute jam that we usually get in every show. And so we get a God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen that kind of starts off pretty traditional, and then they tweak it and it gets heavy into a little snippet of Beret. We could always have more Beret. Then we get a little snippet of Quartet. Then we get a full band version of Living in the Past that almost kind of sounds a little bit like Neil Diamond Band reprise type Vegas-y type thing. But I think that's intentional. But it's a heavy driving, kind of cheesy version of Living in the Past. Um, Very interesting. Eventually, we end up back into My God. Very big vibe, very big drums. Oh no, we go back into My God, and then that eventually leads us into Cross-Eyed Mary. And Cross-Eyed Mary it just sounds big. It just sounds like they're filling an entire arena with just this huge sound. Probably one of my favorite studio tracks from Tull is Cross-Eyed Mary. The way that sounds on Aqualung is amazing. This is pretty close to bringing that kind of power. Full version of this, and while the band sounds fantastic, all of them, from start to finish, like the band is like hitting on all cylinders. I have to give a special shout out to the drums. Like Barlow's drumming on this is like Hammond is great on bass, Evan is great on piano, Bauer, of course, Anderson, but the drums are just bringing that little extra something to every song, and it's really it's just great. Fantastic Cross-Eyed Mary. Then we get a Minstrel in the Gallery, and this is before the album has even come out. Sounds amazing. We get the full version of Minstrel in the Gallery. They're hitting all the hard parts. When they drop into that riff, a third of the way through, the one that he also plays in the beginning, Martin plays in the beginning, it's just a neat callback to the beginning of the show and just kind of unites it in just a really, really cool way. I think later at the end of, I think, Backdoor Angels, he drops another short little callback to Minstrel in the Gallery. That's pretty cool. So that kind of just keeps getting echoed throughout the show. Then we get a Skating on the Thin Ice of a New Day. And in the beginning, during the opening lines, he introduces band members. So it kind of has this weird fragmented feeling at first. Never been one of my favorite songs, but it works well here. It's nice to hear this. Then we get a Bungle in the Jungle. Even with like the animal noises from the studio track are being played over the monitors. So this one is weird. It's a weird song. I don't think it's a bad song. It's got catchy, it's hooky, but I've always thought Casey Jones from the Dead did not sound like a Dead show and was this weird anomaly in their catalog. I think Bungle in the Jungle is the weird anomaly in their catalog. It's not a bad song, but it's not very Jethro Tully. At the end of it, they did kind of do a shortened version of it. They do a short snippet of the hare who lost his spectacles, like they're going to do that, but then they actually change the story because it's not actually about the hare who lost its spectacles, but it becomes this sort of spoken segue intro into the next song, which is Aqualung. The middle, I think there's strings at the end. The keyboards are once again doing string sounds at the end, which is kind of cool. The middle section, not as extended as some other versions, but has a very playful, dynamic vibe. A lot of that has to do with the drums. Just a really good Aqualung, still relatively early in Aqualung's career. That doesn't sound jaded or worn out. It just sounds like concise and purposeful and powerful and just well performed. I believe that's the set ender. We come back with some guitar improvisation when Martin's just shredding, just going crazy, doing like, kind of laying out his bona fides. We get a little melodic sort of section in the middle before he shreds some more. And then that eventually just drops us right into Backdoor Angels, which sounds just phenomenal off War Child. This is like a proggy, dynamic, kind of all over the map, just really, really great, 5+ minutes. It's kind of their weirder prog. Like this could have worked right in the middle of like Passion Play. They could have gone into Backdoor Angels and out of it at some point and would have fit in with that chaos. Great song choice. I wish it had stuck around. I wish we saw it, later on. I don't believe it's not in any other releases I have, but it works. And it's just, they're able to flex their musical muscles and really explore and get out there. And you realize what a great song it is. So it makes you like the album War Child more. It just all around fantastic. And then we get a Locomotive Breath. We get the piano intro. And once we get like the little piano intro, before we drop into the song proper, we get like a shredding version of the intro. Then we jump right into the middle of it. Then at the end of the song, we make this abrupt sort of left turn into what it's called Hard-Headed English General, and my understanding it was a song, very proggy song, instrumental. No, it's not instrumental, there's vocals, but there's a lot of really interesting proggy sections in here. I think it was a work in progress that never became anything. I don't know if it's released elsewhere. I don't believe it is. Yeah, because it's not on anything else, right? But it's just it's part of that just awesomeness of Locomotive Breath, where even if you're like, okay, yeah, it's another Locomotive Breath, still there's going to be this awesome sort of like coda at the end where they jam out or they improvise or they drop other songs. And we get this thing called Hard-Headed English General, which is the song part is actually pretty good. The instrumental part is absolutely fantastic. And then they eventually go back into Backdoor Angels to close it out. It's just absolutely high caliber progressive rock, just a band just hitting on all cylinders. It's an absolutely exhilarating listen. Friggin' love it. Where would I rank this among the other ones? Right now I have it at 4. And I really think those top 6 are just like fantastic. And it just kind of comes to preference. Song choices, some of them are longer than others. Some of them I just like the songs better. But I have this behind the one from 80 only because I really like that Stormwatch material. I think I like that a little bit more than the War Child material being played live. But yeah, it's really a fantastic listen. And the sound is amazing. And just to hear those handful of songs, which are not going to be anywhere else on any of these other live releases, kind of makes the whole thing worthwhile for me, for my ears. But yeah, really enjoyed this release. Let me know your thoughts on Jethro Tull. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do those things. And if you haven't heard this, man, track it down, check it out. If you're a Tull fan and you have not heard this live 75 show, yeah, it is really good. That's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.